Alright, so the last video, or the first video of this chapter, just to kind of review what we did here, we wrote forms of equations in y equals mx plus b form, right? The last video was very easy because when we did this, we just wrote these equations when they gave you the slope and they gave you the y-intercept, right? They either gave it to you by telling it to you or they gave it to you on the graph, right? So what we're going to do now is the same thing, but they're going to make it a little bit harder for us. They're not going to give us everything. So here we're going to write an equation of a line from a slope and a point. So in this case, they're still going to give us the slope, but they're not going to give us the y-intercept, okay? But we can find it, and then we just plug it all in, okay? So for this example problem, okay, it says write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form that has a slope of 3 and goes through the point 2, 4. Okay, so just as a real quick idea of what we have here, so on the graph, they're giving us the point 2, 4. 2, 4 would be, if I start here at the origin, it would be 2 this way and 4 this way. So here they're giving us, this point somewhere out here. They're not giving us the point that's the y-intercept. That's the only difference, okay? But it's actually really easy. So now that they don't give us everything, here's what we're going to do. Step 1, we're going to plug our slope and our point into the formula for slope-intercept form, which is still y equals mx plus b. Okay, so but now you should definitely know what slope-intercept form is. So if you look over here, this is basically what they're doing. They're giving you the slope m equals 3. So we're going to take that slope and we're going to plug it into the m in our slope-intercept. And then remember in our point, the first number is the x value, and remember that the second number is the y value. So see, I have an x and I have a y. And I'm going to plug those in. So here I'm going to plug in this 2 that's the x into the x. And then I'm going to take this 4 that's the y and plug it into the y. Okay? And basically it's going to look like this. So instead of y equals, it's going to be 4 equals. And then remember I'm going to substitute with my parentheses mx. And in this case m is 3, x is 2 plus b. So look what I have here. I've plugged in 3 of the 4 letters. I plugged in my y, my m, and my x. I don't know the b. I'm going to solve for the b. That's what step 2 says. So if you see step 2 now says solve for the equation for b. Alright, so let me just bring this down here. So if this is my equation, I'm going to solve it for b. So this side is done. 4 is still 4. Well, let's do this 3 times 2, which is 6. Plus b, and now I want to get b by itself. That's what we mean by solving for it, right? Ever since chapter 2. Get rid of that 6 by doing the opposite, which is minus 6. 4 minus 6 is negative 2 equals b. So let's think about what we've done now. We did this because look, now I've got the b. Way back in the beginning they gave me the m. So now I can just take all that and write it in this y equals mx plus b form. So it's y equals, what was our slope again? 3. So it's 3x, and then now the b is negative 2, or 3x minus 2. That's it. Okay, so they didn't make it super easy, because they didn't give me the slope and the intercept. They just gave me the slope, I find the intercept, now I put those pieces in. Okay, so let's do some practice here on this next page. Okay. So, number 1, they tell us the m is 4, and it goes through the point 3, 7. Okay? So once again, it all starts from y equals mx plus b. Alright, so remember you're going to plug in what they've given us. The 4 is the m. The first, remember, it's always xy. So I'm going to plug the 3 in for the x, and I'm going to plug in the 7 for the y. Okay? And that's the thing with math a lot of times. If you don't know what to do, just start putting things in, and then it'll kind of guide you. So now that I plugged it all in, you can see, oh, I don't know the b, I'm solving for b. So the 7 is done, 4 times 3 is 12, plus b. And now we're solving for b. Get rid of the 12 by doing minus 12 on both sides. 7 minus 12, use your calculator, is negative 5. Okay. And so now, look what we have. I got my slope and I got my intercept. So now let's put it into slope-intercept form. Y equals mx, in this case m is 4, and the b is -5. There's my answer. Just like that. Okay. So now number 2. Now the m is -1, which is the slope. The line goes through this point. Okay. Remember, I'm not going to just do this. Okay. Here's a mistake that some people make sometimes. They just say, oh, it's as easy as the first time. -1 is the slope, x, plus 1, that's the y. Right, remember, it's not just any y. This has to be the intercept. This point is not the intercept. Okay, so I have to find the intercept. And so just like before, we're going to start plugging things in. It's all about y equals mx plus b. I'm going to plug the m in for the slope, this for the x, and the y. Just putting things where they go. Alright, so y is 1 equals mx. M is -1, x is -2 plus b. And now we start solving. This side's done. -1 times -2 is +2 plus b. Solve for b. Get rid of the 2 by doing -2. 1 minus 2 is -1 equals b. So now once again, why do we do that? Because now I got my b. They gave me the m, so now we plug it into slope-intercept form. Y equals, slope is -1x. Y-intercept is -1, so it's -1x minus 1. If you write it this way, that's perfectly fine. The way they'll write it, or if you want to change it, remember -1x is -x minus 1. Either way is okay. Alright? So, let's try one more here. So now I want to write the equation for the line that has a slope of -9 and goes through this point. I want to write my answer in y equals mx plus b. So we're going to take our given information and start plugging it in. -9 is the m, 4 is the x, and -8 is the y. Okay, so start plugging it in. -8 equals mx. M is -9, x is 4, plus b. Start solving. -8 is done. -9 times 4 is -36, plus b. How do I get b by itself? Well, look, that's a -36. Remember, we're always doing the opposite. Plus 36. That's all gone. B is finally by itself. Alright, and so now we got -8 plus 36. Normally make sure you're using a calculator, but that'll be a positive 28. Alright, so now to get to our final answer, got the B, got the M. Let's plug it in. Y equals -9x plus 28. There it is. Okay. Alright, these last three are, might seem a lot harder, but they're not. They just have fractions. Alright, same process. Use the calculator to help you on the fractions. Okay. So I want the equation for the line that has a slope of 2/3 and goes through this point 11/7. So, like always, we're doing y equals mx plus b. I'm going to plug in 2/3 for the m. I'm going to plug in 11 for the x. And I'm going to plug in 7 for the y. So now we got 7 equals mx plus b. M is 2/3, x is 11, and now we start to solve for b. So 7 is done here. Now I'm going to go to my calculator and do 2/3 times 11. Alright, remember, sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't if you type in a fraction like this, right? So just to be safe, always type in your fraction like a fraction, using the green button, y equals, to get that. Okay? You do it this way, you won't have any mistakes. So I'm going to do 2/3, get out of the fraction, times 11. And that gives me 22/3. Okay? If it ever gives you a decimal, remember how to make it back into a fraction. So this is now 22 over 3 plus b. Now I'm going to solve for b. Don't worry about the fraction, it's the same idea. If this said 22, you would do minus 22, right? Well, now it's 22 over 3, you do minus 22 over 3. It's still doing the opposite, and always doing it on both sides. B's by itself. Now I'm going to do this in the calculator. 7 minus 22 over 3. 7 minus, get your fraction, green button, y equals 22 over 3. And look, we have negative 1/3. See, it all kind of cleans up there. Okay. And yeah, the intercept can be a fraction sometimes. So look, here's my b, here's my m. We now have our final answer. Y equals 2/3 x minus 1/3. That's the equation of the line. Okay. Next one, we want the equation of the line that has a slope of negative 1/2 and goes to the point 10, negative 5. So like always, we're going to plug in m. First number is the x, last number is the y, right? So now it's negative 5 equals mx plus b. M is 10. I'm sorry, m is negative 1/2 and x is 10. So this side is done. Now I'm going to do negative 1/2 times 10. Get your fraction. And I can just put the negative on the top with the 1. And then 2. Remember, only one number is negative in a negative fraction. Times 10. And we get negative 5. Okay. So it's negative 5 plus b. Solving for b, opposite of negative 5 is plus 5 or positive 5. These go away. b equals that plus that, it goes away. It's 0. Okay? That means it goes through the y-intercept at 0, through the middle. So got my b, got my m, plug it in. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 0. Now if you write it that way, that's fine. Just know when they do it, they're going to write it like this. Because plus 0 doesn't do anything. That's the identity property. Okay, so remember, anytime you see slope-intercept form with nothing at the end, that means the y-intercept is 0. Okay? Alright, last one here. So, I'm going to do this one kind of quick. Slope is 4/5, goes to the point negative 1, 9. So if I plug in my information, 9 is the y, equals mx plus b. Slope is 4/5, x is negative 1. 4/5 times negative 1 is negative 4/5 plus b. Opposite of negative 4/5 is positive 4/5 or plus 4/5. So here b equals, let's go to our calculator, 9 plus, get your fraction, 4/5. And we get 49 over 5. Okay, ugly number, but that's what it is. So here's my y-intercept, here's my slope. Y equals 4/5 x plus 49 over 5. Alright, so that's how you find the slope of the equation of a line when they give you the slope and another point. Okay, you plug it into the slope-intercept form, find your b, then just plug in your b and your slope and your m, and that's it. Alright, go ahead and try some practice on your own now. Good luck.